both here, and this is Game Face Monday. We are live. How you doing there, Richie Bello?
Great, just a little cold, that's all.
Yeah, it is chilly. It's like 20 degrees outside right now.
Dying to get out of here.
Yeah, and
Very soon, taking off like a light.
let me ask for a little forgiveness in advance because I'm sick as a dog today. So if I sound a little off or my brain isn't functioning sharp,
Correct.
I apologize. So before we get rolling on our show today about the VIN retention report from Shop Smart Autos, just going to run a quick promo from them.
Digital marketers, are you ready to give your clients an edge in the competitive auto market? Well, you can with the VIN retention report from Shop Smart Autos. This powerful tool doesn't just track the vehicles that dealerships sold or held onto, it shows where cars went, whether other dealerships, auctions, or private sales. And it does it fast because it does it with VINs. With this data, marketing agencies can create tailored campaigns that directly address these weaknesses. It's one thing to win new customers with great creative or lower prices per click, but it's a totally new ballgame when you can target each click and new customer with powerful data. As affordable as a radio spot, but far more effective. Help your clients win with the VIN retention report from Shop Smart Autos.
All right, so that's our VIN retention report from Shop Smart Autos, the number4dealers.com. And we talked about this on TechFace on our other video podcast that we run here, because it is a pretty intense piece of technology / software. So just to give the audience a little bit of a background, Richie, before we talk about how this can really help out marketing agencies for acquiring new accounts or retaining accounts. Why did you dream this up?
Well, because the Polk company had a report similar to it, but it wasn't as detailed. It just showed you registration numbers. And I have that report from back in the day. I want to do a video on a Zoom or recorded Zoom and show the difference, right? So that cross-sell report is sold today through Dominion. And if you look up the cross-sell report, that's where the whole thing came out of, right? And that told you what your market was like, right? And that specifically told you the inventory, the cars you rent, the cars that are being sold and everything. So this is the VIN retention thing. This goes into your inventory, into your DMS, really. But the reason we know that is because the inventory is all online, so we track the VIN number. So the thing that we came up with this is, well, why? Is because we've seen the vehicles in operations across all dealerships drop. But you look at the brands like Ford, like General Motors, like Honda, like Toyota, they've increased. So what does that tell you? That tells you there's a retention problem.
Right.
There's a sales retention, and it turns around to service. I think one of the stores that's probably one of the best stores that I've seen in retention, and they must have a retention tool there, I would say, is Paragon Honda. That's one of the biggest retention dealerships that I've seen. So they must have some sort of somebody following up or somebody doing something, you know?
Right.
So kudos to Paragon Honda. Kudos to Brian Benstock, because he's got a great retention as an average overall.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. In any business, any job I've ever had, and especially when I got into the auto sales, it's amazing to me how the sales team would always be excited to have a customer from 3 years ago just show up and say, hey, where's Mike? Where's Lee? Because you sold them a car in the past. They remember the relationship. That's what they want to deal with. And where I was in a Mazda dealership, there was a lot of that, a lot of guys that had been there. somewhere between like 8 and 14 years, something like that. And there was they retained a lot of customers in that way. But it is amazing to me how few businesses always focus on the new numbers, the new customers,
Right.
and not retaining the customers that you already have, especially when it's a repeat business like, the car industry. I mean, when those leases are up, or when when it's time to make that trade. And so from a marketer's perspective, trying to acquire new dealerships, accounts for their marketing firms, it's an unbelievable tool. I mean, I know I've said it a few times in the past, but never were we in a never were we in a position where we could walk in to a dealership, whether it was a new account or if it was Monday morning and we were going over the numbers, and be able to say, hey, you're losing, so many cars a month to the dealership right down the road and to these 4 dealerships, and people are selling them on the street instead of coming back to you, or people are doing this and that. We really had no methods at the time. So when I hear about a tool like this, I can't imagine that any dealership wouldn't want to have their hands on it to be able to.
Well, there's a couple of things, Lee. So let's identify a couple of things. So in the car business, people always say to you, well, so let's say you're a rep for a bank, right? You go into an office, right? The dealership say, hey, when you're done with the finance guy, come see me. Just wants to come see you to talk about things, right? When you go see him, he usually tells you, hey, listen, Richie, how's ABC Motors? ABC Motors right down the street. How are they doing? They're always worried about how the other guys do with the dealer side, and they should, because that's their competitors, right?
Right.
Today, you don't have to ask that.
Right.
Today, you can take this platform and run a report and know what all your competitors are doing.
Right.
Right. So it's there. And it's that simple. Do you want it, dealer? Do you want it? Do you need it? Do you want the information to get informed, to better manage your advertising dollars, to better manage your agencies, to better manage your people? Because let's face it, a lot of these dealerships are doing in-house marketing. Okay?
Right.
And do you want to manage your people that you're trusting with your co-op and with these budgets?
Right. Yeah.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Or do you just want to keep doing business the way you've always been doing? I mean, you're always being successful, and you're always doing what you're doing. Do you want more intel information? And this is really an intel tool. It becomes an intel tool when you're able to run a report that gives you analytics on your competitors.
Right. Quickly.
Now it becomes an intel tool.
Right.
Do you want the intelligence to work for you, or you don't? What do you want to do? Do you want the data to work for you? You know, it's that simple. And you're talking about, $150 or something a report.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, the cost of a radio spot or a TV.
Yeah.
You can have your
the cost of 2 cigars, really. You go out at night and you have 2 cigars like me.
Yeah.
That's what you're spending. Now you can buy cigars for $8 too. But if you go out with a friend, you smoke 2 cigars each, Yeah. You smoke Danfords, you're talking about $45, $50 a cigar.
Right.
Okay. And that's what you're talking about, So, I mean, it's like, hey, it's that simple, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those guys and talking about trainers and stuff. So let's talk about this here, right? Real simple. Don Brady. Don Brady's a trainer now, right? Because we want to know what his store is doing before he gets there. Does he want to compare it to all 3 of his competitors?
Right.
Right? To find out how the strategy and how the landscape should be.
Right.
You know, does he want to do that?
Right.
Or does he just want to fly over there and say to himself, well, whatever, and I put his stuff on there so that way we know we're talking about him. So do you want to do that? You want to just take the dealerships, what they tell you, and believe it?
Right.
Or do you want that data to better enhance that dealership and better get a better performance?
Right.
What does you
Right.
want to do?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And if you take a look at the, you run a VIN retention report and you see, from a marketing perspective, you see ridiculous amount of vehicles are being sold on the street.
Right.
Now you can target those. You could start to say to yourself, well, this is an ongoing issue that we're having. We need to target people and do a whole campaign, excuse me, on trading your vehicle in with us, that we're going to give you top dollar, or that you can, we had a software tool on TechFace on, I can't remember the name of the software tool, but where the customer actually does the evaluation of the vehicle. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they actually come up with the trade value.
Yeah.
And they're more honest in that way and such because of it. But and the next thing you know, you're having people have the thought process of a place where I would like to go trade in my car, that I could get more value for my car there and whatnot. Or if you're noticing all your vehicles are being traded in at a dealership down the road, instead of targeting them for new cars, you're targeting them for service.
Right.
You know, it's just a unbelievable intel and a way to hone in your marketing and make sure that you're really maximizing every single dollar that you spend for your clients. And when you walk in, being able to present that way, instead of, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get people clicking, and this is what the creative looks like. And
Right.
to be able to really hone in and understand all your different targets and all your different methods and lay it out there for a dealership when you're trying to get an account, I think they would be highly impressed.
Well, when you talk about the advertising companies, right? So let's talk about them. You're in a dealership and you're trying to prospect that dealership, you know? Go after their competitors into the dealership, come up with the 3 reports. Boom. And now when you go for your presentation, make that part of your presentation.
Right.
Now you can identify as a professional, Mr. Dealership, this is how we can help you. Or no, you're already maxed out. You're doing great.
Right.
You know, you don't know. And then if the dealership sees that you have that kind of data, you're adding value to yourself as a professional.
Mm-hmm.
Because what professional doesn't go by data today?
Right.
It's always the case. You go by the data, right? You go by the information. Then why do they say in sales, it's about asking questions, not so much giving the answers.
Right.
What do you think that is? Because in asking you a question, I'm getting the data.
You're getting the intel. Yeah.
I'm getting the info. And what is really sales? What is sales? It's more listening than anything else.
It should be.
You know, and it says wants and needs, right?
Right.
So what are you, the prospect? What is your wants and needs? Because I'm never going to sell to you what I want to sell you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only going to sell to you what you want to buy, what
Right.
you're in the market for.
Right. Right. Well, what
And
makes
if you're not in the market for
Mhm.
this type of data, then there's an issue. Where is the issue?
Mhm.
The issue is inspect what you expect.
Mhm.
This is an inspection tool, right?
Yeah.
Why do you need an inspection tool? Because you got the money from co-op, you got the money from your own money for advertising, and you're laying that money on top of an advertising company. And now you're trusting them to perform for you. So why not inspect it?
Right.
Then you might as well just take your money and don't even look at your financial statement and don't go over your commissions and don't go over anything, because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You're putting money in front of somebody's hands without inspecting it. And maybe you are inspecting it. How? Oh, by seeing your click-throughs, by seeing how much traffic you have on Google Analytics and all that. But bottom line is seeing what your retention is, and out of that traffic, what is converting, right? And seeing, am I doing better, or do I keep losing customers?
Right. And from the digital marketer's perspective, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Why not inspect and have everything in your hands when you walk in to talk to that client?
If you get 10 customers a month in any business and you lose 6, the only thing that's going to happen to you is the cost of that acquisition is going to keep higher.
Right.
Like, how I mentioned what a great job Paragon's having. Well, let me tell you this. Garden City Nissan is the worst by far of retention. The worst by far. Okay? He don't retain any customers. Well, why is that? He's got a little rough process. Little rough. Personally, I think that place needs to get improved. I think that place will actually be shut down, really, till it gets revamped, because the process that they have there, it's an old school process that doesn't work anymore. So let me just say that. So, I mean, there's places out there like that this tool will help them.
Right.
I mean, he can hire a manager and put him to work and show him the report and say, could you fix this?
Right. Yep.
Because, I mean, everybody knows. I mean, the OEM cares about how many sales you got, but they also care about your retention. They also care about, your brand. They also care about their franchise, because after all, it's a franchise.
Right. Yeah. So then in that case, it comes down to training.
Yeah. In that case, it comes down to training, to why are we losing customers? What are we doing that we're losing customers?
Right.
And what could we do to retain 1% better? And that's all you can do. You can only do a little bit,
Right.
Just try to do a little bit. Don't try to take it all on in one day.
No. Right.
But knowing where you're at is key.
Right. Absolutely.
And this is not leads. This is not third-party leads. This is none of this stuff. This is you knowing your store and knowing your competitors and monitoring your people in your store.
Yeah.
Against your competitors. For all you know, that manager you have that you're trying to cut his pay, he might be outselling all your competitors at the same time. You don't know that.
Right.
How do you know?
Right.
And now here you want to cut his pay.
Right.
And then you got a manager that you take care of. You don't know the results, right? And he might be a guy that you need to get rid of.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So you're working blind,
Yeah. Yeah. Let me show him.
Not knowing is the exact same thing as Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder is blind, right? Not knowing whatever you don't know is the same thing as being blind. You don't know. That's like putting a blindfold on you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So dealers, why wouldn't you want to know?
It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling to think every dealership should have access to this. There's no doubt. I'm going to give them a quick inside look at what the report looks like. So here you can see an example of your VIN retention report. Right at the top, you're going to see the total VINs you sold over a period of time. You're going to see the sales that you retained. You're going to see the VINs that ended up going on the market elsewhere. You could see it broken out by month. And it's really going to give you a good picture of how your retention situation is going. As you move on,
These are your past VINs sold relisted in the last year. So whether they were on your website or a competitor's website, you're going to get to see. These are the VINs that were sold by your dealership by month. So you can see when your peaks and your valleys. Now you move on and you can see these are the VINs that you lost and what dealerships they went to, which is a huge, huge advantage. Which vehicles went to auctions that were your VINs. You see, this isn't just about knowing how many vehicles you sold. This is for sale by owner. These are your VINs. These are the models that you lost. So now you can see which vehicles, why are we losing so many souls and so many Sportages as compared to other vehicles? And then you have the positive side. These are the ones that you retained. So in the end, you're not just marketing to people in your CRM that may have gone somewhere else already, and now you can see where they've gone and you can target them to get them back. Yeah, so there's an inside look at the data that you actually, some partial look at the data that you receive with the VIN retention report.
There's another thing in the report that I want to touch base with, okay? So you have the report. It's telling you a dealership, ABC Motors, your trade-ins, your vehicles and operations are going out to the private sellers network. And that would be if I'm a dealership, that would be a problem. Now, then I run another report from my competitors and find out if he's got the same situation. If my percentage is higher, I'm having a problem with the communication field with my sales staff, how they're bringing in on trades, what they're telling people. Oh, my manager, what he's doing.
Right.
So now that's going to cost me money because a part that I'm going to lose deals, right? I'm losing deals on trade-ins.
Right.
But my competitor is not. So that's another thing that you got to look at. But wait a minute. My competitor is at 20% and I'm at 60% of trade-in. So I'm losing now. My vehicles of operations are dropping like a clock. My retention is pretty bad. You got a problem. Or the opposite. Wait a minute. That store is losing trade-ins.
Right.
Oh, let me get a hold of my marketing company and show them this and tell them to start targeting those customers to me.
Right.
Okay. Now let me do a promo on a trade-in.
Mm-hmm.
How's the promo of trade-ins? We're accepting every trade-in, instead of going to the auctions and buying these cars, we have grown so much in our used car department that we need your cars. That's it.
Yeah, we can offer
Now
you more.
you know that your competitor's not doing that. You go on Facebook, on social media, you go on YouTube, you go on Google AdWords, you go everywhere. Now you know that there's a weak point.
Right. Right.
So you went the other way. Well, I'm losing them, but I'm not losing as much as this guy. This guy's losing 60%. That means he's got a weak floor with weak people that are not taking in trades.
Right. Yeah.
Now what? Now let's start targeting that instead of me fighting with my competitor on price.
Right.
Because his weakness is that.
Right. Yeah.
That's putting the data to work for you.
Yeah.
instead of you working and spinning, and fighting against something that it doesn't work.
Right.
Be more effective, be more precise in market audience.
Hmm.
Now you go out and hire a DMS marketing company, Dealer Funnel, Helms Technology, Auto Alert, etc. The list goes on. Okay. You give them this DMS marketing, and you don't know if you're increasing or decreasing or whatever, what's going on.
Right.
Now you try to help them with this report and clean up your database. You know how much money it would cost you to get registration data and clean up your database? Thousands and thousands of dollars.
And time.
Right. But just the cost itself is a lot more than we are.
Right.
And you're not cleansing your data, you got a problem.
Yeah.
So you're reaching out to customers that bought a car from you 3 years ago that don't even have that car. That probably went to your showroom, right? And didn't buy from you because they didn't see the same salesman or whatever the thing might be,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or you have a really good retention and a really good return, right, on this, and now you know how you can make it better.
Right.
So what is the report that these companies give you? They give you the click-throughs. Oh, they're clicking through it. That's the report they give you.
Right. Right.
That's the only report they give you. They don't know anything else. With this report, it's more detailed.
Right.
It can tell you how to fix it or
Right.
how not to fix it and just improve it,
Right.
It works either way, I've
Mhm.
put a lot of different scenarios here on which way it does. You can benefit from this.
Right.
Well, let's talk about third-party lead generation. Okay, so let's talk about companies like Cars Guru, Cars.com, that they didn't know what to do with the report, and all these companies. Okay, you canvass your dealership that you lost, and you show them what their competitors are doing and what they're doing, and why did you cancel us when you can get leads from us?
Right.
Oh, well, we went with this company that's first-party leads. Oh, you did? If you did go with that company, why are you getting these results, and with us you were getting this?
Right.
So now you can go into the report, into history, 8 years history.
That's amazing.
8 years history. 8 years.
Man.
So now you can go back in time. Now, what does that tell you, Mr. Customer? You mean to tell me I can go back 8 years in history? Wow. I can go back to 2020, 2019. Could go back to 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can compare what
Yeah,
Cars.com did and what your other guy's doing.
Right. Right. Yeah. Be able to look at the trends.
Well, you look at what they were doing and what this new guy is doing.
Yeah.
And currently, you can look at what the new guy is doing that says, I can get you first-party leads.
Right.
But Cars.com competitor is beating, my competitors are beating me by getting Cars.com leads.
Wow.
But if you don't know, you're just listening to somebody that's marketing you.
Right. Right.
You're
Absolutely.
blinded. You're just listening to somebody that's marketing you. It could be true or not true.
Right. Yep. Yeah, and we've experienced.
What are the chances of what somebody is saying to you be true?
Right.
None. None. Me, none.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have the data like that. Now you know what you got.
Right.
What are the chances of these guys selling videos for showrooms, selling this, selling that? All these things are selling to you, right?
Right.
What are the chances of that really working for you? But if you can inspect that and have the data and look at the history, now you know if it works or doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's
So I
huge.
think we touched based on a few different scenarios where you see what that report really does for an automotive professional, what
Yeah.
it does for an agency, you know.
Powerful tool for an agency as well.
And
Right.
that's the strategy right there. So how do we build strategy? Oh, by knowing what your private sellers are.
Right. Yeah.
By knowing where your cars are going. So you mean to tell me that your CarMax is actually taking 10% from you, but what's more important is, let's say, Port Jefferson Chrysler is taking a much higher percentage from you?
Right.
Well, why? Why are vehicles? Why are customers going there? Well,
Right.
now your advertising company can do now a strategy and find out the search, find out what they're doing, what they're promoting, and now you know.
Right.
The report tells you if you have a cold or not. In that kind of terms.
Right. Right.
And now it's up to you to get the vaccine.
Yeah. Right.
As the dealer. So you're monitoring your store in comparison with your competitors.
Right.
So now it gives you an idea.
Extremely powerful. Without
I
a doubt.
think it is. And even for lead generation companies, this is a great tool for you to tell, here, this is what your competitors do, and this is what you're doing, and your competitors buying these companies from me.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know?
So something. Right.
Right. So it's really, really a good tool. I know that if I'm a dealer or a general manager, I would buy it.
Yeah.
I would probably buy it only once to see it.
Right.
But then to get the handle of it, I said, oh, okay, this is great.
Yeah.
And see if I increase, you know?
Yeah.
And just knowing the information and then hiring yourself a strategist. I mean, Lee, you're really good at strategy, right? Imagine you have ABC Motor and you got two of their competitors, and ABC Motors is telling you, Lee, we need big budgets and we need this and we need that. And you run that report, right? And you see that this guy is eating your lunch. Well, he's got 1% of his cars going to private sellers.
Right.
And you got 30%. Okay. His retention is 60%. Your retention is 30%. Okay. And you're going to a DMS marketing company that you've hired for the last 8 months or a year, and the guy is still beating you.
Right.
Okay. Well, why?
It's time to inspect.
First, it's the used cars, right? First. Second, he might have a cleaner DMS than you do.
Right.
Or he hired a DMS marketing company that actually cleanse the DMS.
Right.
Or instead of doing DMS, he's going after his CRM.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a couple of different things.
Right.
You know, he could be going after his CRM and DMS at the same time. So you don't know none of this, right? But it shows in the numbers.
Right.
So then you hire yourself a professional, right? And that professional can identify all these things.
Yeah.
Because a true professional, the data talks to them.
Right.
Somebody that really knows data can see a problem just with the data.
Right. Right.
If you don't know data, the data means nothing to you.
Right.
It's like
Right.
me showing you coding. What was that?
Yeah, you have to be an analytical thinker for sure. Yeah.
It's like somebody that doesn't know anything, me showing them ShopSmart, all the coding that's in ShopSmart or our geofencing technology and all that. They whatever.
Yeah.
To them, it has no value because they don't know.
Right.
But to a person that knows how to interpret that,
Right.
like, you know, like we have one of the things that we have that we're getting ready to launch is tracking the devices.
Mm-hmm.
So you got these companies doing ads and doing ads for these deals and ads and ads and ads, right? And click-throughs and click-throughs. Okay, so we track the device now.
Right.
The device shows up in the showroom. Now what? Now compare those click-throughs to actually visitors in your showroom, like you said.
Right.
One thing is having analytics visitors, and the other thing is showing them in your showroom.
Yeah.
Now you see these devices, but not only do you see them in your showroom, you see them leaving your showroom and going into another showroom.
Right.
Now, what does that tell you?
Yeah. Yeah.
When that happens? So we're getting ready to launch that in late January.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about tracking and seeing where your customers are and seeing where those customers are leaving. Like in Google Analytics, you have a customer comes in through your landing page and exits through your contact form.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, you got a lead there, right? The customer comes in through your landing page and exits it through the inventory page. You got nothing.
Right.
Unless you got forms there, right?
Right.
Now, the same way, a customer walks into your showroom, exit, and goes to your competitor. Well, I have a solution when they go to your competitor. We have the geofencing technology.
Right.
So you go to your competitor, and what happens then? You come back on the rebound.
Right.
Now, when that device, you go to your competitor and you put that device there, and that address that we got geofencing, boom. Hey, Richie, don't forget to come back to us. Give us a shot again. We're having a sale tomorrow from 9 to 3.
Right.
As I'm talking to another guy, now that's creating doubt. Any number you give me, I have to go back.
Right.
Because now you just put a comment here. Hey, Richie, we have a sale starting tomorrow at 10 o'clock. From 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
We're taking every bona fide offer. We're accepting every bona fide offer. Bang. Period. Oh, you know what's going to happen to you, right? You're going to be in front of that, and no matter what number that person's giving you, you got to say, I got to think about it.
Yeah. It's opportunity.
And now you go there, and then you go shopping again, and when that device lands on that area, bang, you get it again.
Right.
What do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to, compete? What do you want to do,
Yeah. Got to stay ahead of the game.
You got to stay in the game.
Yeah.
Be in it to win it,
Absolutely.
And we're in it to try to win it.
Yeah.
With technology, with knowing analytics.
Yeah.
We're looking at your data. We're observing where you want to be.
Yeah.
So I want to wish everybody a good Christmas. I hope Santa brings everybody what they want.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah, actually, which lands on, I believe, Christmas Day this year.
Yes.
And and a Happy New Year to come.
Thank you, Lee.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching and listening, and we will catch up with you soon.